Thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. My journey was certainly not born into it, but dragged into it. Having found myself as part of the responsibility for a property that had a long history of growing wool, we needed to understand it a lot better. What you've heard today is the importance of numbers, the importance of understanding exactly where you are if you want to understand where you're going to go to, and how you're going to improve what you do, and how you're going to generate a product that is going to be accepted by consumers, demanded by consumers, and made a hero by consumers. What we realized very early on is that we didn't know what we were doing. So we asked a whole bunch of people that knew what they were doing to come and help us. One of the questions we were asked was, so what kind of wool would you like to grow? We had a bit of a scan around with the limited knowledge we had, and I came up with this great idea. I said, I want cashmere grade merino. Why? The price of cashmere. I want to be up there in the price level, which is what we've done with lamb, isn't it? Eventually, I realized that what we should do is have one segment of the market that we could actually supply. And we decided to go for complete comfort in the merino that we produce. So we needed to understand what that was about. It was about the time when laser scans were becoming a little bit more available. So we thought we'd go into a partnership with one, which we did, and we started testing everything that we had for Micron and give us an idea of what that was going to do. Now, in 1957, the Australian Parliament decided to pass a legislation that said wool must be tested and there should be something that says this is the qualities that we have and this is what it is actually supplying our processes. Micron testing came into it eventually. In-shed micron testing, as I mentioned to you, for us came in 2005. Having fit-for-purpose garments means that this segment may be able to be used next to the skin. Now, was it? What I realized by standing in front of the laser scan and doing a whole bunch of tests myself, and they were a few thousand a year for about 10 years, is that the amount of fibers over 25 micron were likely to cause prickle. Not certain, so we tried to work out how we could eliminate that and minimize that. Over the years, we went from about an average, flock average of about 18.3 micron down to about 16, and that seemed to eliminate most of those higher micron fibers. That started giving us some garment comfort in the specialist marketing that we were doing to direct to certain retailers. And when these retailers decided to use this kind of yarn specially processed, they came up with a very comfortable garment that people were very happy to use next to skin. As a result of that, the natural qualities of wool, which is thermal management and moisture management, which are supreme, better than any other natural fiber, could be used a lot better because you could wear it next to skin. So we were able to turn around and say, trust me, we know that this is comfortable next to skin. Funnily enough, because of those surveys that we saw earlier that said, Millward Brown said 38% said all wool is prickly, and 13% said they are allergic to wool, although wool is not an allergen. It worked out that some 60% of people would avoid wool completely. So we said, okay, how do we do this? Interestingly, the Sheep CRC decided that they would work on objective measurement of comfort. It was fantastic. We were involved with that from the very beginning, And what we saw was that we could then turn around and say, this is truly comfortable next to skin. We can tell you that for certainty. We could deliver and create product certainty. We can turn around and say, by the way, although every eczema website tells you do not go near wool, there is some wool which is actually going to be better for you than cotton because of its thermal quality and its moisture management quality. And if it doesn't prickle, if we know that it has total comfort, it's going to actually be better for you. Now there's a change. Now that was tested recently and it was proven to be the case. Now, that gave us market confidence. And we started taking the wool comfort meter to various trade shows and showing it like this. People would come up and say, will you test this for me? One of them was a scarf that was produced by some of our cousins across the Tasman. And it's rated at 1400 when the comfort level is 400 or below. So these people are putting scarves around their neck that would be the equivalent of throwing an old chop in with some trim lamb. We realized that there was a lot of this, which is why the confidence was not there for people in wool. So therefore we need something like the comfort meter, which will give us an objective measurement and give us market confidence at the same time. Not all people believe in science, as I found out, so we decided we'll test it on babies. So over the last 2.5 years, we have tested this whole process on about 3,500 babies with 100% success rate. We did that because we said, fine, let's try it. We created a brand called Henry and Grace, which names my wife's ancestors, and we came up with a range of clothing. And luckily, now maybe because of the wool comfort meter, because we're certain of the product that we had in our hands, we were able to go to the market, and we've had a 100% success rate with not a single complaint in 2.5 years that we've been in the market. And confidence of the parents, repeat buyers, all those kind of things that we want, and we can now turn around, position our product at a much higher level and progressively increase that price, and who knows, maybe one day we'll get the price of cashmere. Finally, I just want to say thank you to the Sheep CRC for a lot of things. When I first started this journey, I ended up in front of James Rowe saying, "What science tell you?" And James says, "Precision sheep management. Start on that and we'll work from there." But there's so many other things that came in. Lewis Kahn with our pasture management, the way that we had to change everything that we did in terms of grazing and water management. And all those things came from the science that you have provided us. Thank you very much.